There are moments in your life when your heart feels heavy, your mind feels confused, and your soul whispers that something is not right. You feel drained around certain people, exhausted in certain environments, and spiritually suffocated in certain relationships. And if you are reading this message right now, understand something with absolute certainty. You were not sent here by accident. You are being shown this message because there is something in your life that needs to be confronted, something your soul has been warning you about, something your heart has been ignoring for far too long. Before we begin, write "I love Allah" in the comments to grow the reach, because someone out there desperately needs this message but might miss it if you do not help it spread. And do not leave, because one of these signs might reveal the exact thing you have been doing wrong your whole life. The last point will shock you. You must understand this. When Allah wants to protect you, He does not always send signs that are loud. Sometimes His signs are subtle, quiet, and easy to ignore. Sometimes His signs come through discomfort, confusion, or loss. Sometimes the Lord of all closes doors gently, and sometimes He slams them shut so hard that your entire life shakes. But every sign has purpose. Every sign carries wisdom, and every sign is a form of divine mercy that you cannot afford to overlook. There comes a time when Allah is telling you to walk away immediately. Not tomorrow, not later, not when it becomes convenient, but now. When your heart refuses to walk away, your life begins to become a battlefield. Your peace diminishes, your happiness erodes, and your spiritual connection weakens. This is no coincidence, it is divine intervention. It is Allah's way of saying that this chapter must close, that this door was never meant for you, that this path is leading you away from the mercy He has prepared for you. And yet, so often we resist, we cling, we hold on to what is breaking us because of fear, because of familiarity, because of the illusion that somehow we can fix what is already broken. But the truth is, the longer you ignore the signs, the more your soul suffers. The longer you delay, the more the fire inside you burns without relief. And the pain intensifies, not because Allah wants to punish you, but because He loves you too much to let you drown in the wrong. Sometimes you are asking Allah for peace, for clarity, for guidance. You pray night and day, begging for relief. Yet deep down, you refuse to walk away from what is destroying your peace. You stay attached to the toxic relationship, to the dishonest friend, to the environment that strips away your faith. You pray for light, but refuse to turn away from the darkness. This is where your journey begins. The journey of awakening to the signs that Allah is whispering into your heart, telling you it's time to let go, it's time to walk away. Because when your soul screams for liberation, when your heart feels a tug that you cannot explain, it is the divine mercy of Allah trying to save you from what is harming you. One of the clearest signs is when something continuously disturbs your inner peace. You can wear a brave face. You can convince yourself that everything is fine. You can tell others that you are okay, but inside you know better. Your soul knows better. Allah places an unease deep within your chest that no amount of distraction can silence. It manifests as insomnia, racing thoughts, anxiety, and a relentless feeling that something is off. Even when everything appears perfect on the surface, your heart remains unsettled. That discomfort is not a flaw. It is divine protection. It is Allah's way of telling you that this situation, this relationship, this environment is not meant for you, that it is not part of your destiny. When you feel this heaviness, this persistent unease, don't dismiss it. It is a sign from the most merciful that you need to walk away before things spiral further out of control. But sadly, many ignore these signs, thinking they can fix what is already broken. They try to mend relationships that are beyond repair, holding on to memories or promises that no longer serve their soul. They cling to friendships built on gossip, lies, and deception, convincing themselves that they can change others or that love alone is enough to sustain a toxic bond. They remain in environments that erode their faith, that make their hearts shrink instead of expand. And because they refuse to see the divine signals, their pain multiplies. Their spiritual life begins to suffer. Their connection with Allah weakens, and they find themselves farther from the mercy and guidance they desperately need. Allah does not increase your pain to punish you. No, His mercy is greater than your pain. When He allows hardship, it is to redirect you, to free you from what is wrong, to save you from years of regret. Every hardship, every tear, every disappointment is a divine signal that the path you are on is no longer suited for you. It is a warning that your soul is crying out for liberation. If you are feeling drained, if your spirit is feeling crushed, understand that this is not weakness. It is divine mercy in disguise. The Lord of all is removing what is not meant to stay, because He loves you more than anyone ever could. And then comes the sign that many overlook. The moment you begin to lose yourself, not just your peace, not just your happiness, but the very essence of who you are. You start doing things you once swore you never would. You tolerate disrespect. You compromise your values to avoid conflict or rejection. You diminish your own worth to keep someone else comfortable. You silence your voice because you are afraid of losing them. But in truth, every time you diminish yourself or someone else, you are losing a piece of your very identity, your faith, your integrity, your purity, your sincerity. They all begin to fade. And the more you ignore these signs, the more distant you become from the person Allah created you to be. When your heart begins to feel heavy with regret, when your soul feels empty despite your efforts, know that this is a divine message. You are being called to return, to reconnect with your purpose, to remember that nothing in this world is worth losing your connection with Allah. Whenever something pulls you away from your purpose, from your sincerity, from your relationship with Allah, that is a sign you must walk away immediately, because no worldly gain, no temporary pleasure, no fleeting comfort is worth sacrificing your eternal salvation. The heart that is lost in the pursuit of worldly attachments often forgets the everlasting. It forgets that true happiness resides in obedience to Allah, in worship, in gratitude, in surrender. If you are continuously compromising your values, tolerating disrespect, or accepting injustice, you are slowly detaching from the mercy of the most merciful. And that detachment is dangerous. It is a slow erosion of your soul. So when you feel your spirit weakening, your heart growing heavy, or your faith dimming, remember, it is time to walk away. And then there is the sign that manifests as emotional exhaustion. You find yourself drained even when you have done nothing. Your energy is depleted by conversations that are superficial, by environments that are toxic, by relationships that are one-sided. You feel like shrinking, like becoming invisible just to avoid conflict or rejection. You feel as if your voice is silenced, your feelings ignored, your presence dismissed. This is spiritual suffocation. Allah does not want you to live in places where your heart cannot breathe, where your faith is stifled, where your soul is starved. He removes you from such environments because He loves you too much to let you remain in chains of darkness. And when you resist the divine call to walk away, when you ignore the signs, when you continue to stay in what is killing your spirit, Allah begins to show you more signs. Signs in the form of repeated disappointments, broken promises, betrayals that cut deep, and events that seem too painful to be mere coincidence. These are divine signals, warnings that the person or situation you are holding on to is not part of the future that Allah has written for you. The pain intensifies, the heartbreak deepens, but understand that each pain is a divine lesson, a message from the most merciful that He is protecting you from what is not written for your good. Many cry out in confusion, asking why they keep getting hurt. Why does pain follow them wherever they go? But the reality is, sometimes you get hurt because you refuse to leave. You stay in the storm, hoping it will pass, hoping somehow it will change. But pain is a messenger. Heartbreak is a divine warning. Failure is a red flag. They are telling you that the path you are on is not the path that Allah has destined for you. Until you learn the lesson, until you recognize the signs, the pain will only increase. Another powerful sign is when the Lord of all removes ease from your life around that person or situation. Everything becomes a struggle. Your mind feels heavy with worry and doubt. Your emotions become turbulent. Your blessings seem to dry up. Opportunities disappear like smoke. Motivation wanes. This is not coincidence. It is divine mercy. When you are attached to what is harmful, your journey is blocked. When you let go, when you surrender, the blocks lift. That is a clear sign that you are holding onto something that is not meant for you. And then there are the signs that come through the wisdom of others. When the people who love you, who truly want good for you, begin to warn you, when their words echo the whispers in your heart, when they express concern, hesitation, or discomfort about your choices. Sometimes Allah speaks through the wisdom of others, through the warnings of those who see what you cannot see. Ignoring their advice is ignoring divine guidance. It prolongs your pain. It delays your healing. It keeps you trapped in what is not meant for you. Then there is the heart-wrenching sign, the one that many fear. Something you yearn for, something you desperately want, begins to slip away despite your best efforts. You try to fix it, to hold onto it, but it only slips further through your fingers. You try to communicate, but it leads to arguments. You try to compromise, but it leaves you feeling hollow. This is the universe's way of telling you that what is written for you does not require your desperation. It does not humiliate your spirit. It does not break your heart. When something keeps failing, and failing, it is an undeniable sign from Allah that this is not part of your destiny. And then comes the sign that many fear the most, the loss of a blessing. Not because Allah wants to hurt you, but because He loves you enough to wake you up. Sometimes the greatest blessings are taken away, not as a punishment, but as a wake-up call. When Allah removes what you think you cannot live without, it is to protect you from falling into greater harm, to redirect you towards what truly matters. Sometimes the loss that shatters you is the very thing that saves you. And when you look back with clarity, you will realize that the greatest blessings come after the greatest tests. And now, I want you to listen carefully to this next point because it is often misunderstood. Sometimes Allah answers your prayers not to reward you, but to test you, to see whether your love for Him is genuine enough to surrender what you desire most, to see whether your faith is strong enough to accept His decree, to show you that your attachment to worldly things can distract you from His divine plan. When your prayer is answered in a way that causes you pain, it is a divine test. It is an invitation to trust, to surrender, to deepen your reliance on Allah. Because true faith is when you can accept His answer with patience and gratitude, knowing that what is best for you is always in His hands. Walking away from what is harming you is not an act of weakness, it is an act of supreme strength. It is the ultimate display of trust in Allah's wisdom. When you surrender what you love for His sake, you are placing your faith above your fears. You are trusting that He knows better than you, that His plan is infinitely better than your fleeting desires. And understand that when the Lord of all takes away what you hold on to, He is making space for something greater, something more aligned with your purpose, your worth, and your future. The moment you walk away for His sake, a new chapter begins, a chapter filled with peace, clarity, and blessings that once seemed impossible. Do not let fear or hope keep you chained to what is no longer serving your soul. Do not let your ego or attachment blind you to the divine signals. Heed His signs, trust His mercy, and take that step of faith. Because when you do, you will realize that what seemed like an ending was actually a divine beginning. The message you heard today can transform your life if you act upon it. Do not let fear, pride, or stubbornness keep you in places where your soul is dying. Do not let loneliness or desperation convince you to stay in what is harming you. If Allah is showing you signs, if He is removing people or situations from your life, trust Him. If your heart is uneasy, listen to it. If your prayers are answered in ways that bring pain, understand that His mercy is in that pain. This is divine guidance. This is divine love. This is the mercy of Allah Al-Mah, trying to save you from yourself. Now, I want you to act with intention. If this message touched your heart, if you feel that tug in your soul, do not hesitate. Share your situation. Share what you are walking away from. Share what you are struggling with, because your story may be the key to someone else's salvation. Your honesty may be the message that awakens someone from their slumber. Write, "I love Allah" in the comments, not just as a statement, but as a declaration of trust, of surrender, of faith. Because this is your moment to embrace His mercy, to accept His signs, and to step into the life He has destined for you.